I'm Jason Martin, and my claim of fact is professional child care enhances the child's learning ability and well-being. This is especially apparent with early fundamental stages, with child care and child development, to where child care interacts with the children. They teach them mannerisms, they go through like shapes and colors and different styles, different interacting, different mannerisms throughout the daycare and the activities throughout the day. The second point that the child care enhances a child's ability is they not only learn basic things daily, but they also reiterate them, and they have parents reiterate them as well, so that the learning and the understanding continues to develop and to grow. The counter to this is just having a babysitter watching your child. You're not getting the full enrichment, you're not getting the learning activities, you're not getting the, you're still getting the support and the playfulness, but you're not necessarily getting the full growth. In doing that, a child's brain develops to its best, to about 80% of its ability by the time they're between 4 and 5 years old. So if you miss the opportunity to fully develop their brain and have them learning, you can definitely start to see them fall behind. I've seen this firsthand. In our family, we had several babies born at the same time within a matter of 4 months. 2 of them have been in child care pretty much since they were about 8 weeks old. And the 2 in child care are speaking a lot better. They're noticing shapes and different colors, and they're more apt to listen to what's being said and understand it, as opposed to the other 2 that are more playful, less talkative. They're less interactive with other kids, whereas when they are in daycare, they're not only associated with children, but also with adults as well, so that they have the mannerisms for adults, but also have the sense to be with other children and be a child as well. One study that was presented that shows that the learning capacity is much better at child care as opposed to a babysitter is a study done by the Florida Institute of Education. The study was done in 2011 to 2012. It was a learning process throughout the university to where they were seeing how the kids interacted and how they reacted to the different things that were said and posed. They were more apt to learn better directional words, better properties of motions. If you tell them to go backward or sideways or things like that, they were more apt to know what those meanings were, as opposed to those that were of babysitters only, which they just basically watched over, not necessarily activated as far as their mind goes, but more stimulated as far as maybe sports or just running around, just being kids, but not necessarily for being able to develop further. So that later in life, it'll be a full benefit. They'll be able to learn more, be able to get farther ahead, because they will be fully capacitated as far as their brain power is concerned. Another site that I had looked up, that I had found that did a study was a child care service that does blogs. Her name is Lizette, and she's head person for the blog of Where Imagination Grows. She goes through and mentions that by teaching them early on and continuing in education, that it definitely brings up to date the child's ability and their learning and thought process. The greatest thing about the child care is not only does it enhance the child, but you also get the newest techniques and the newest styles, because they have to be retrained and recertified yearly to be able to teach and facilitate to your child. In doing this, the overall enhancement of having your child go to a full-time daycare as opposed to just a babysitter fully enables the child to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jason, your proposition's clearly identified, and right up to the end of it, I think it works pretty well, but then you've got multiple claims built into that last half of the section of the proposition, so that makes it a little bit complicated. You want a covering term that would work for both of those things. The contents of the speech are not really previewed for the audience. I thought that that's what you were going to do, but you actually went right into the first argument, so it wasn't a preview, it was just a label on the first point. The first point is labeled, but the phraseology is a little bit awkward. It sounds like an explanation more than a declarative statement, and I think that's a little bit problematic. The same thing is true with the second point, where you basically are saying, well, they learn the basics and they reinvigorate it or redo it or reiterate it, as you said. I thought, well, okay, there's an argument to be made here, and I think that that's pretty good, but it's all just claim. There's a lot of assertion here, and I'm not seeing any proof on that. The only places that you provide any sources are at you've got the Florida Institute, the one research that you cited, and then you've got this blog that is cited by this one person, and I don't know what her qualifications are, except that she's the head of a blog. And if the blog is advocating her personal school, all of a sudden I'm wondering, well, how unbiased is that? And what measures do they have? The only other evidence that you have are your personal examples, which we have no way of checking on. And I'm sure that everybody will be able to think of people that they know where one person went to a babysitter and they're perfectly fine, graduated from Harvard, that kind of stuff, and one person went to an organized daycare and they're an idiot. I mean, it's awfully hard to make an inference from personal examples, and we have no way of checking those personal examples. I think that would be a good attention device to use at the beginning, that you have these children in the family and you've seen a difference, and that's why you want to advocate that daycare has, a professional daycare has a beneficial effect for children. I think that might be the way you could get it in there, and instead of using it to prove your argument, it just kind of explains what the subject is. And then you need a little bit more information like you had from the Florida study, which I thought did attempt to provide us with some information about a benefit. Now, it wasn't very well quantified. There's no statistical information in there. It says that the kids there benefit more from directional words. I was like, well, that's nice. So the kids who could go to daycare know what going backwards means, and the kids who don't go to daycare don't know that. I'm not exactly sure how important that is. That's all that I get out of this study. That research seems a little scanty. So it seems to me like if there's a whole set of arguments out there about how important it is for kids to get early education, that there's some benefit that occurs from this, that there's got to be more information justifying it than what I see in the speech here. I've got all the claims, I've got all the assertions that you're making, and I think they're probably legitimate arguments to make. What I need to see is some proof of those sorts of things. Otherwise, I've just got your say-so on it, and I'm not sure that that's going to be convincing. I think the one thing that you do that does help make you more convincing is the way you deliver the speech. You are very calm, and you sound knowledgeable about the subject. You're building some ethos for yourself as a speaker, and that's going to help the audience say, well, you know, he probably knows something about what he's talking about, but when it comes to the logos part, I think we're a little bit, like I said, skimpy, and we need some more information. All right, thank you.